Uh, Hi. Um, I don't know if I'm probably gonna have to explain this a bunch of times during the stream, and I don't quite know where to start. Um, I defines. Um, you might notice that I look a little bit different. And that is simply because see, the thing is, I want to come up with a different reason every time. Kind of like the Joker, you know. The want to know how I got these scars, but I should have maybe spent the day trying to come up with several thousand reasons. My camera's broken. Or something. The room is a mess. I am broadcasting live from underneath the Pentagon in a prison cell. Because I grew too powerful. But they still give me an internet connection and a PC that can play video games. You know, that kind of stuff. The real reason is a little more the real reason is I have a little bit of a cold sore and I don't want that to be like on the internet forever. So I quickly whip this up. It should make for an entertaining couple of hours. Literally the simplest, most basic PNG tuber situation setup that I could create. But that's okay, who cares? The irony being, for this is just a temporary thing, right? But for my YouTube, I want to put myself on camera more. See, this is the funny thing. I'm looking at where the camera would be right now. There's no camera. I could look anywhere and you wouldn't know. I could be drinking tea right now. I could be naked. And you wouldn't even know. Yeah, the irony is I wanna put myself on camera more for the YouTube, mostly because that'll make it so much easier to edit. Well, not 100% sure about that, but like I struggle so much with like what kind of footage, because I spend a lot of my video time not talking about the actual game. And I struggle a lot sometimes. 15 spy cameras in the room. How many devices do I have in the room with cameras? I have... See, I want to point. But it's not there. Right behind... Hold on, I can do this. Hold on, I need to get into studio mode. Oops, I moved the wrong thing. Right behind me there, right where my mouth pivots, there's a Microsoft Kinect. Does that count? That counts as like 3 cameras, doesn't it? I have a couple of phones. I have 3 phones, each which have like 2 or 3 cameras. There's a webcam on Mrs. Bob's computer, but it has a little plastic thing on it to block it. If you caught all the Gundams. Because the Gundams all have little camera sensors, right? That's what their eyes are. So, the plan today is... I'm sorry, it's not the Kinect I got from... Wait, I don't know. I have 2. I don't know which one I put in the box. But let's just say... See, I'm performing still. I'm moving my arms. You can't see it. If I had set up the Kinect properly, I could have a little 3D avatar right now. Let's just say it's the Kinect I got from you. And that's what makes it special. And okay that it's spying on me, working all day. So the plan today is... Here's the thing. For 100 million years, I've been wanting to make video games. And for only 50 of those years, I've had an idea for a big, grand, 3D, first-person life sim, job sim, adventure game set in a real place. And I've spent a handful of streams working out some of the details of that thing. Making some maps and coming up with ideas, sorting a lot of notes. There's years and years of notes. And the thing is, I am the horrible, dreaded idea guy. Mostly because I'm scared to actually make things. And I think one way to work with that is to stop thinking up new ideas and start trying to make things. That's something I learned from the Bible. Not the Christian Bible, but like the Game Maker's Bible. No, there's no such book. It's so weird to like not have to worry like about being seen. It's not just worry. There's also an N64 behind my teeth. Although I suppose even when I'm on camera, there's an N64 behind my teeth. It's a very strange feeling. But basically today I'm gonna futz around in Godot for a bit. Is the plan. I just wanna... I have like a... I think what I want to work on... Like, I futzed around in Godot a while ago, too. And it was mostly playing around with some plugins. Playing around with the ocean shader and a terrain generation plugin. I don't think I really played enough with them in depth to know if they'll be useful for me or whatever. Chow and hang. It's delicious. 64 bits of 64 calories per serving. There you go. Today, what I want to do is there is a plugin slash template, is what you would call it, for Godot called Cogito. Let's see if I can get there. And it's like basically a template for immersive sims, right? So it has guns, it has inventory, it has item interaction. Look, no generative AI was used in the making of this project. Even better. Hasn't been updated in a week. Okay. That's pretty good. Oh, they're moving to Codeberg. Cool. We're all getting off of GitHub, huh? And so the thing is, I kind of need to work out what I want my character controller to do. And I need to... There's a fine line. No, there's a very thick line where... Oh god, I need a little more relaxing music, Riz, please. Here we go. I need to figure out... Like, my coding skills are shit, right? They're not zero. I have coded stuff before. I have messed around with code, various languages, from hacks to HTML. I've never made anything... I've never finished anything in Godot, but GDScript appeals to me because of its syntax. It's somewhat Python-like. Hey, Grace. Is it new? Have you seen it before? Is it anonymous? It's just my face. Could it be, Grace? Could it be that I have some sort of embarrassing blemish on my face that made me go, you know what? Maybe no camera today. But a PNG tuber thing would be funny. Maybe. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe it's something more sinister. Who knows? But so what I wanna try to figure out is where I'm obviously gonna use a lot of templates, assets, plugins, pre-made code, and whatever. I'm not capable of building a character controller from scratch. But I am capable of taking one that already exists and saying, oh, I like what it does here, and I like what it does there, and I don't like this, and I do like that. And part of this process, I think, is learning to scope for myself. Because I could imagine in my head the perfect character controller, and it's like this hugely complex thing that I can't even conceive of what the code for it would look like. But it could do this and it could do that, and oh, that's great. I also don't just wanna... I don't want to give it this asset flip feel of just kind of to have the most basic character controller you can think of, and it just plop it into the world and like bolt on whatever else I need. I want to have a little bit of finesse and a little bit of understanding. So I think today is going to be both just looking at this template, seeing if, like, I don't think the chances are high that I'll use it, because it is modular, right? You could turn off guns, you can turn off certain HUD elements. I'm sure it's code. You can change anything you want to change. Cool. But can I do? Is that something I want to do, or is it something I just kind of want to learn from, get some basics out of? I don't know. We'll see. That's kind of the idea. Is that I'm gonna figure it out as we go along. And here I am talking. Well, half of the reason I'm talking is because I'm still sipping tea. You can't see that. I'm not able to translate the sipping of the tea into the PNG. I don't have that technology. But I want to figure out... I think what I would like to end the day with is to have a list of the basic elements that I want in my character controller. I have a whole huge to-do list. Hi, Red. Not to-do list. Hold on.
Assurance. Today is the day.
Today is the day, it's true. Here we go. I have... What do we have here? Technical notes. Character notes. I have things that I want the game to have. Like, here's the thing. I'm still in this idea environment where I can just come up with anything and say this would be cool to have, that would be cool to have. I'm not making anything yet. I'm not like mired in the code and completely stressed out by things that aren't working. I can say something like you know, have mosquitoes buzz around you. What do I have here? Carrying small items, a heat meter. But there's like elements of the character controller that I want to be about the feel, you know, the basic movement. Like I have ideas about okay, I've talked about this before. I might do a video on it someday because it feels like a game that has really dropped into obscurity. But in the heyday of like the indie game, I'm doing quote marks. you know, the indie game, the movie type of game, way before Steam greenlight, there was like a adventure survival game called Miasmata. And in that game, your character is it's from a first person view, but your character has a weight to it and a slipperiness to it. Meaning, if you run fast, it takes a while before you kind of get back to zero. But also, you can fall down hills. You can slip. If the slope is too steep, it'll be more slippery to run. Now, I don't think I want to code something that in depth, and it's quite annoying. It's very very janky. You know, it's a very different way of playing a first-person game. But I do like some of the idea there of, hey, steepness matters more than it usually does in games. I'm trying to create a certain sense of embodiment. Not a one-to-one simulation, but like in so many games, because movement is something that is just like, that tends to just get in the way. You know, like you just want to move as fast as possible. Like if you're playing a GTA, unless you're role playing or doing something for a mission, you're not walking, you're running, you're sprinting as much as possible. You're going upstairs, you're sprinting. Well, but like in real life, if you go upstairs, you're going significantly slower. Especially if you're like ridiculously unfit like I am. So I do want to create a sense of, or try to play around with at least, this sense of if you're going uphill, it's gonna slow you down a little bit. It's going to cause friction. If you're going downhill, maybe you'll go too fast, and that will cause problems as well. You know? Like, I don't know, maybe you can fall. I don't know. That doesn't sound too appealing to me, but I think there's a lot more that can be done with like that sense of embodiment. So that's one. That's like basic movement, right? Looking around and walking, and your interaction with surfaces. I'm gonna write this down actually. You can't see this, but I have this huge notebook, this huge A4 notebook. It used to have some SSS notes in it, but now it's this game's notes. Character controller. It is the 10th of the 3rd. 26, and this pen sucks. Give me a better pen. I had a blue one here somewhere. Where'd you go? Oh, here you are. Character controller. So we divide it into movement. I had the words. Is movement in terms of like body movement, and then there's viewing angle. Movement and camera, I guess. Movement, camera, and surface interaction. And surface interaction would mean what type of surface? A slipperiness? You know, is it wet? It's going to be Aruba. It's rarely going to be wet, but there's a funny thing about Aruba. Let's see if we can go to Google Earth. Alright. I've mentioned this before. The big hill in the middle of the island. Big. Relatively big. So on this side, you have the staircase that goes up all the way, right? If you look here, on the south slope, I guess. This is like a This is just like a little hut that there's a bunch of cables that go here to the radio towers and shit that's up here. But if you kind of look here, you can kind of see, you know, it's not great from this satellite view, but you can kind of see an indentation here. In the 80s, at some point, it was raining heavily during the rainy season, if you could believe. And there was a big rock here. And it got so rainy, that big rock decided, you know what? I want to be closer to the ground. And so that big rock tumbled all the way down to here, where you see these trees here. You can't see it now, but there was a house there. With an old couple sleeping in it. And that rock apparently did not like that old couple. So, you know, rain matters. That's why the buildings are flat in the picture. That rock, it did a lot. So surface interaction means like steepness or angle, but also slipperiness. But then, besides the movement and the interaction, when I think character controller, right, especially in the way that Godot works, where everything is a node that you put into another node. So the world is like a place with 3D data and code attached to it, and you can have a separate entity component thing that is the character. You could just drop that anywhere, and whatever it belongs to the character is attached to the character, right? So things that could belong to the character, like if you think about a normal game, you think about a little Mario game, health. What other qualities does Mario have? Power-ups, you know, that kind of shit. In my case, because I am making something vaguely in the genre of life/job sim, there's going to be little meters, right? Health? I'm wondering if health is a thing. I don't know if health is the right term for a game like this. Like, okay, say you have a hunger meter. In a lot of games, in a lot of survival games, if the hunger meter reaches 0, you start losing health, right? Or if you fill up the hunger meter, you start gaining health. And if your health reaches 0, you die. In this game, you're not going to die. But there is a health type meter potentially that determines whether or not you're capable of doing anything that day. And that could be invisible. But the point being, there's not attributes. Attributes is the wrong word. The character has several meters. What do I have as ideas? Stamina? Potentially? Oh, here I go. No death, but fall damage, which is a binary state. If you fall from too high a place, time will forward 2 weeks and you'll miss out on income and planned events. Something like that. Maybe instead of stamina, it's energy/fatigue. It could be affected by sunlight. If you've ever lived in a very hot place, you know that the sun, it can be very draining. Hunger, fatigue, meters, dirtiness. Heat. I think heat is one that works particularly well for Aruba, for that kind of gameplay, because it'll force you to like drink water or sit in the shadows. Like no thirst, maybe, but heat is something that that is affected, that water can improve, that sitting in the shadow or indoors can improve. Mosquitoes. Irritation stat. I kind of like that. Also social stats. No, stats. Is stats the right term for meters? Active stats? I need to come up with the right term now, but I kind of want to I want to have it make sense in my head. What does Kujito call it anyway? Manual. Player controller. Properties? Attributes. They call it attributes. Alright? Yeah. Attributes. Okay, fine, we'll call it attributes. Attributes, I feel, is something a little bit more static, but whatever. You have visible. Visible meters. Like heat, cleanliness, irritation. No, hunger, energy / fatigue. You know, and invisible meters. Invisible meters of social battery? I feel like I was born on this earth. Allegedly. I was born on this earth specifically to make a game in which there is a social battery stat. And it's not going to be a very high stat. Invisible meters. Health. Irritation. What else? Heat. Irritation. Social battery. Okay. Whatever. None of this is set in stone. I'm just kind of turning it on. But so you have attributes. You have the stuff that is visible in the meters that you know, can be mitigated through actions. You know, like, oh, you have a lot of fatigue, go to bed, or eat something, or you're very hot, go inside, or drink something. And some of these can affect others, like cleanliness. If cleanliness is low, your irritation can be high. Same with fatigue, social battery, etc. You know, you have you call it like primary and secondary meters. Then we have like what I would call base items. And base items, to me, are diegetic ways of getting information or interacting with the world. And specifically are, one, an MP3 player, which is used for music. Because that is something... I remember playing the early GTA games and being annoyed whenever I had to leave the car and then having to stop listening to the music. And now modern games that have that less, like Cyberpunk 2077 had it, that you could just, because, you know, you're a fucking cyborg, so the music could just keep playing. But in my case, I don't want to have in-car radio. I feel like the kind of character I am putting down is somewhat... It's not like a self-insert, and there's no real story. But it is somewhat based on my experience of being like a teenager on the island. And one of them was like, and being undiagnosed neurodivergent, one of those experiences was I need to always have music playing in my ears. And I think the best way to do that in a way that is diegetic and fun and also evokes the era, which is more than 20 years ago now, is to give your character a little MP3 player. And then the other thing is a phone, and this is very similar to what GTA 4 and 5 have done, where a little phone functions very similar to how we have phones now, where it's like a kind of, it's not just a thing you call people with, but it's a kind of little device that you do a lot of your daily activities on. You connect with people, you can play a little game on it, and you know, in this game you could have a little maybe a little map GPS, like a very shitty little here. Phone is a 2004 era camera phone. Saves pictures in folder in actual low resolution. Devices need to be charged, which is kind of cool. Need to be charged. Kind of cool. Is it cool? To me, it helps put you in that world. They need to be charged. The phone is also, of course, where you would look up like stats and that kind of stuff. Okay, and then the last thing that the character controller would need to have is inventory. And item interaction. Those are actually two very different things. I've said this before. My idea for the inventory is there's two. Oh, they're separate, but they're also together. Okay, you can pick up items. I don't know if items will have physics. And they'll have some physics because you can pick them up. But like, when they're loose, are they loose? Are they just rolling around? Maybe. That's in the modern day. That's not all too difficult to implement because, you know, any engine comes with its own like built-in physics. But when you grab it, again, I'm modeling a lot of this off of how, not what My Summer Car does, but kind of how it feels. In My Summer Car, some items when you pick them up still have physics, and therefore you can use them to manipulate other things. I don't think I necessarily want that. One thing that I feel like I haven't played a game that does this right, and I don't know what right looks like, is you pick up an item. Say you pick up a box. And you can like rotate it and move it around a little bit to kind of place it. I like some of this idea because placing items gives the player a way to kind of make the world their own a little bit. You know, you could grab a bunch of boxes and make a little pyramid, you know, but also in your house you can arrange stuff. So there probably will be some of that needed. So just picking up items and manipulating them is one thing. Okay. And that is still modified by one other thing that I want to try out to make. Picking up items and manipulating items. And then there's carrying items. And carrying items is where I want to do something a little different. One-handed or two-handed. This is going to be a little tricky to try and demonstrate without having my camera on. But in most games, I suppose because like whenever you're playing a game from first person, almost certainly what the game is doing is it's shooting out a beam from the center of the screen to whatever you're picking up on a single beam. The only game that doesn't do this is Jurassic Park Trespasser. We all know how that worked out. Jurassic Park Trespasser, I've never played it, but from what I understand, you manipulate the arm of the character, but only one arm. And what always bothered, as if it's something that's like, oh my god, there's something so wrong with this world that games do it this way. But something I've wanted to try out is if you, in the real world, say you're picking up a small bottle. In the real world, where you and I live, supposedly, you pick up a bottle with your hand, you could potentially, with that very same hand, pick up another bottle. You can also pick up one, maybe two bottles with your other hand. And, if you really want to, you could put some of those bottles under your arm, between your arm and your torso, squeeze a little, and have your hands free to do other things. So I want there to kind of be, one, items that you pick up either with one hand or two hands. Big item, you need both hands, so you can't pick up another item. Small item, you pick up a cup, as I'm doing now, and you can't see. You pick up a cup. Your other, if you click the item pickup button on another item, you also pick up that item. Now both your hands are full. There's stuff to work out there about, like, okay, now which one do you put down first? The one you picked up last, or the one, you know, whatever. We can work that out. I want to make it intuitive and not Jurassic Park Trespasser. But say, okay, so I want there to be, like, you can imagine there's like, my other hand is holding your cane. In your case, yeah, but you wouldn't be working out in the deserts of Aruba either. But so I'd like you to be able to stack items under your arm. So say like under your arm, under your left arm, there is slots for 3 small items, or 2 medium items, or 1 big item. And by item, I still mean something like not a couch, you know, but something you can pick up with a single hand. Something like that. So like a temporary inventory, temp inventory underarm. Various item slot sizes. And then, because carrying everything under your arms is no way to live a life, you also have a backpack. And the backpack is a little bit more like, I'm imagining like the Resident Evil 4 attaché case, you know, kind of... there's limited space. And if you want to fit everything in there, you need to kind of puzzle it out. RE4 attaché case. Maybe it has weight that affects the physics. I don't know. Maybe weight. For deciding which item you drop, you could check if your hand can hold the most recent item you put under your arm, and then drop it. Yeah. Just trying to imagine how I would code any of that is already making me cry. I'm gonna keep it basic for now. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how to code properly, but I also know through the power of binary. All our dreams are possible, right? Maybe wait. That affects movement or attributes like fatigue. What else? Is that all? Character management. Dirtiness. Oh, you also have a watch. You're also wearing a watch. You're also wearing a wristwatch, like a Casio. Just an if statement. Just a database. Just keeping track of items and properties. You have a small wristwatch, like a little Casio. Just for the time, and that also functions as an alarm. If you wanted to. Or a stopwatch. You know, it has all those features. You could put... See, I wrote it here like this. You could put a certain volume of items under your arms. Volume. So, like, items have... See here, this is an interesting thing, right? I'm trying to figure out the character controller, but I'm already now turning it into, oh, and this is also affecting how I will design the rest of the world, because what if items have volume and weight properties? And volume doesn't have to mean actual volume. It just means inventory volume, right? Obviously, there will be some kind of physical volume, but I'm thinking more like, you know, because like clothing, soft items. I'm not saying I'm using soft body physics or whatever, but a soft item can be compressed, right? I know this because I was bringing back a lot of shit from Switzerland, and I had to compress it a little more to make it all fit into my luggage. Inventory volume / size. I don't know how to code, but I do know that how I write these things down in the code, once I start actually laying it out code-wise, is gonna matter. And I want that to be consistent. Okay, camera, phone, radio. Where do we live? That's story-wise. Sleep. Sleep. Is sleep something I need to note down right now? I'm not sure. I guess... Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I guess I should kind of think about what kind of, like, interactions you can have with the world, right? Like, okay, you can sleep, you can eat, you can dance, interactions. Maybe once I play with the Kojito stuff, then I'll have a little bit of insight into how it would work for an immersive sim. Interactions. Sleep. Talk. Drive. Buttons. Pick up. Drop items. It'll probably be a sprint. Or run, rather. I wouldn't call it sprint. Like, you can't see it because my eyes are wide open on the PNG, but like I'm closing my eyes and I'm just kind of imagining myself doors. You know, then I'm getting a little bit more into like the world. Like obviously you interact with the world. Can you jump? Is there a jump? Do I need to have a jump? I feel like if I leave out a jump, I can be more intentional with like potential places to climb. And I make it a little harder for the player to kind of go into places where they're not supposed to. What else do I have? Technical. Mechanic. Littering. This is the world. Holidays. Patchy asphalt. Triple S. Rainy season. Archaeology. Windmills. Collectibles. This is more for the driving. But one thing that really annoys me in driving games is even in driving games where you can have a cockpit view, you can have a first-person view. I experienced this a lot in Cyberpunk. Now, Cyberpunk is a first-person game. It doesn't have a third-person mode, except when you're in vehicles. But even then... Do I have anything else here? Store trash. Oh, eat, drink. I'm not going to have a piss meter or anything like that. Cyberpunk has this thing that so many driving games do that have first-person cameras, is you can't really see the road signs from inside the car. And that annoys me because I like to have a little bit of immersion. You know, especially if you're making me play in third person. I don't want to be constantly looking at the map or whatever. I suppose if I did drive, I probably would be constantly looking at the map. But that's maybe because I got trained by video games like that. So I had a thought that, and again, I can't show this now because I had a horrible disfiguring accident, and that's why I'm a PNG tuber now. But I kind of like, I have this thing in first-person games. I feel like any kind of first-person adventure type game, anything that isn't just shoot, but anything that requires you to look at things, it needs to have a zoom button. This is my, like, one of my 10 commandments of first-person narrative adventure game design. Because in the real world, you can focus, you can kind of get closer to a place. There's a lot of text in games that, like, from a standard distance, you can't really read. So either you make it really big, which maybe makes it not as realistic, or you just let me zoom in on it. And the zooming in is not realistic because that's not what you do in real life. But in real life, you have a lot more mobility and you have a lot more environmental awareness. And I think that's one of those things that kind of helps compensate for that. But I think if you're sitting in a car and you want to, like, see a road sign or a stoplight or something like that, you don't just kind of lean forward, but you lean forward and you look up a bit through the windshield, right? If you're trying to kind of look out of the windshield up at a potential sign. I think when you're driving, I'd like you to be able to do that. But that's not regular character controller. I have to say this, on foot. See? This is how we work things out. I have to specifically designate an on-foot character controller. Because when you're in the car, it's going to be, or on any other kind of vehicle, because who knows what else I'll add. There will be a general, like, okay, this is similar, but it'll also be very different. Like, okay, I like interacting with buttons on the dashboard. Acceleration will be W, you know, by default, or whatever is the same as forward on foot, but there'll be very distinct things in code. There will be a on-foot state and an in-vehicle state. Not even a driving state, an in-vehicle state. Let me just add a little highlight to that. If I can find my highlighter. Okay. So, this is what I have now. For on-foot character controller, we have movement, camera, and surface interaction, right? Which is just the basic walking and looking. That's how I should walking and looking. Sometimes it's good to put it in very colloquial terms. Then you also have attributes. I'm not sure if these will actually be... Should these be attached to the character, or should they be more... I think Godot doesn't really matter. I'd like them... There's not going to be any multiplayer or whatever, but I'd like them to be attached to the character. Especially because other things will affect this. But attributes, which will be visible meters, and by visible, I'd like the interface to be as diegetic as possible, so maybe this is something that you check on your phone. Doesn't make sense, I know. But, you know, video game, I'm not going to get too realistic. I just don't want clutter in the user interface. But who knows, it could just be a bunch of meters in the top left, right? But you have visible meters such as your heat, your personal heat. Personal heat. So, how hot your body is. Cleanliness. Hunger / energy / fatigue. And social battery. Maybe. But then you also have invisible meters that the game keeps track of, but you are not aware of, such as health. Health here being not your regular video game health, but more a general status. Let me write that down. General status. Health just means if it goes under a certain threshold, the game essentially pauses or you get punished. Right? Under a threshold, under a certain threshold, you get warnings? And then punishment. You know, if your irritation stat gets to like 80%, you could imagine the game character starts making like annoying noises, and certain meters just won't go down, right? If you're highly irritated, your social battery will be very low, right? If you're highly irritated, social battery max is much lower, or something. And then if you, let's see, what would affect health? Mostly fatigue or whatever. fatigue or fall damage affects your health. Fall damage would be a binary thing, I think. It would basically be if you fall from a certain height higher than this, then your health goes to 0, and then whatever the consequence is for your health going to 0, that is what happens. Fatigue is more like, you know, if your hunger fatigue is high, hunger fatigue could be different things. I don't know. We'll see. We can fuck around with that a lot. But then your stamina is low, you know, whatever. Okay, so you have your, you're walking and looking. You have your attributes. Then you have your base items, which is an MP3 player, a phone, and a wristwatch, which are ways that you get information on yourself and the world. Some ways to interact with the world and its people, and all of them except for the watch need to be charged so that they are they feel like items which exist in the world. That leads me to a curious question. Okay, so how do you charge your phone overnight? That's how I charge my phone. Especially back in the day before phones had like USB, whatever. You'd have one charger. It'd probably be by your bed. Especially if you're not like an office drone or something. So, does that mean your phone only charges when you go to sleep? Obviously, we're talking like a 2005 era Nokia, so the battery lasts 7 days or whatever. But what happens when the battery is low? Can you go about your day without your phone? About phone charging. Does it charge automatically when you sleep in your bed? What if you can sleep somewhere else? Does the phone still charge? Fancy enough, you could have a car charger. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I also like the idea of being able to go through your day but lacking all options on your phone charger. What if your phone dies or dies? Do you just not have access to its abilities? Because one thing the phone is for is, say you flip your car or something or damage it, then the phone is how you call for assistance, right? Because I do not want the kind of punishingness of a My Summer Car. But I do want there to be consequences for your actions that are inconvenient. Yeah. You can't call anybody. Like in My Summer Car, it is very easy to get stranded somewhere and then have to walk for an actual real life hour to get anywhere. And then during that, potentially die from hunger or having too full a bladder or whatever. I don't want that, but the idea of here, okay, so you both did not charge your phone, kind of reckless, right? My phone never goes below like 35%. Just in case. You did not charge your phone, so that's reckless. And also you drove kind of recklessly and you crashed your car in the middle of nowhere or whatever, or in between two places. That you'll get punished for recklessness. I think that makes sense, yes. Unless I add certain features of the phone that are like super necessary. But it would be a temporary status anyway, because say you die, again between quotes, say your health threshold goes to 0, the consequence is you just wake up with everything again. You're just missing out on 2 weeks of progress or whatever. Okay, so that makes sense. Then you have the inventory and item interaction, where I want to at least experiment with some kind of way of holding items in both hands and temporarily holding items under your arms. Then there's also a backpack that has a limited volume and weight capacity, and the weight of your backpack could potentially have an effect on attributes such as fatigue and the walking physics, right? And then lastly, of course, there are interactions that you can do with the world. You can interact with items and with people. You can push buttons. You can grab things. You can drive your car or any other vehicle and potentially talk with NPCs. I don't know how that would, is there an interact button? Is there a prompt that comes up when you're close to an item? Those are all things we were going to work on. I really, 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 really dislike having your cursor over an item and that item glowing like it's radioactive, and then also having like a big E button on it. And then also the E button says interact or pick up or whatever. I see the sense in having two potential buttons, maybe three. A click on something does something different than pressing E on something. I'm just going off of the basic, like, this is going to be a highly indie game that's PC exclusive, and I don't have to worry about controller inputs yet. Controller inputs might happen in the future, but let's going off the basics. You can click on an item, you can maybe right click on an item, and you can hit E on an item, and those three things can have different effects. I don't know how that's going to look like. Another thing that I really want in this world is modeled after build engine games, after the Duke Nukems of the world. And that's like, if you see a light switch, you can hit that light switch and it'll probably turn a light off or on. Right? If there's something that looks like it should be interactable, it needs to be interactable at least a basic level. I find that very important. I don't know. That's just something that like I really like. Except the default indie game water tap, that one really needs to die. I mean, look, the thing is the interactivity has to have some kind of purpose. A water tap that you can refill your water bottle in is a different thing entirely than just like, this is the one thing. That's the thing too, is usually it's the one thing that's interactable. A toilet that flushes. Okay. I don't know, because like, okay, Duke Nukem Forever. I know. We were all very disappointed in that game that we had such high hopes for. But like, one of the things you get at the start is a whiteboard that you can draw on. That kind of shit, Not saying I'm gonna have an interactive whiteboard, but like, it's not about a thing that turns on and off or whatever. It's about making the place feel like it's real. In My Summer Car, for instance, your house has an electric meter, a bill. So turning lights off actually has an impact on your finances, right? It's all these little things that contribute to creating a sense of place. Holding the turd. So again, this is going to be one of the rare life sim, job sim, survival games where there's not going to be a press F to piss button or take a dump. I don't want any. I don't care for that. But there's lots of little things like that. Like I think it was Shadow Warrior where you had like a little remote control cars that were actually used for a puzzle. You know, every monitor gave you a security camera view. You know, that kind of shit. It's also in a way, and this is not going to be in the game because there's not going to be guns. Well, maybe there will be paintball guns, but all the shit that Metal Gear Solid 2 got praised for, like, oh, every bottle is individually destructible. Hey, Nervous. And these ice cubes are like actually melting. And hello, Fluff. I accidentally used a. So here's the explanation for why PNG Tuber. I accidentally used a prototype teleporter while there was like a little fly in the other teleporter, and our heads got switched temporarily. I know, so embarrassing, and I didn't feel comfortable putting that on camera, so I set up this PNG Tuber thing. How is everyone doing today? I am trying to work things out, as we say. I will show to you on camera what I'm trying to work out, but again, my head is either that of a fly or my body is. Use your imagination. Who cares? So I think we have it figured out, right? Movement, attributes, base items, inventory, interactions. Very, 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 very extremely basic setup base, but also this might help me once I start coding it. This might help me because obviously I'd want to start with the walking and looking, just the absolute basics of it, and then yeah, not in this order. I'd start with walking and looking, then I'd work on attributes potentially, then inventory and item interaction would be a whole big thing, as would be interactions. Those are kind of linked, those two. Those are kind of linked. I'm gonna do a little dotted line between them. And then the base items. But I can see this working in my head. How am I gonna load MP3s into the MP3 player from a real life folder on the player's computer, and then have the game scan for that at startup, and then have the text display on this on-screen text display, and have the buttons work properly and whatever. That I don't know. But like, I can see all the placeholder variables in my head, and I think that goes a long way. So what I want to do now is I want to look at Cogito. So, okay. This is basically like Babby's first immersive sim starter kit, right? You could load this into the game and replace all the assets with your own levels and have your own basic immersive sim ready to go. Cogito is a first-person immersive sim template project for Godot 4, providing a framework for creating interactable objects, various items to use, and mechanics to influence the player in game environment. In short, with Cogito, you get a quick start for a fully featured first-person game with a great variety of mechanics and a solid base to create your own. You get a first-person controller with sprinting, jumping, crouching, sliding, stairs handling, ladder handling, sitting. See, already, I want sitting. Is sitting part of movement or interactions? I think that's part of interactions. I don't know about stairs and ladders. That's the whole thing too. Hold on, let me highlight some more shit. I can't really see it in this light, but it's fine. But look here, you can see the difference between someone who's actually knowing what they're doing and me. Lots of exposed properties to tweak, like to your liking, like speeds, head bob, fall damage, bunny hop, etc. There are so many intricate things to a character controller that I'm not like got in my head. Like look and feel, the game feel of motion. Head bob. What would I know about head bob? Footstep system. So there's like sounds. Sounds would be very much, you know, based on like gravel versus asphalt versus tile, all that shit. Player attribute system: health, stamina, visibility for health. Sorry, stealth. Customize how attributes get displayed in the HUD or stay hidden. Also usable for RPG-like attributes like strength and wisdom. Interactions can check attributes. E.g., you can only lift a box if you're strong enough. Component-based interactions make it easy to turn your own objects interactive quickly and customize existing ones. Doors, drawers, boxes to carry, turn wheels, elevators, notes, keypads. Inventory system. Flexible resource-based inventories, grid-based. Think RE4. Inventory UI separate from inventory logic. Why does that matter? Examples for multiple item types, consumables, keys, ammo, weapons, combinable items. Yeah. See, that's a different thing entirely. So, like, that's something that's going to be a lot more complex than I write it down here, because the inventory system is not going to be just character-based. Right, because items will have volume and weight, but also they can have any number of different kinds of like uses. And yeah, a consumable item is very different from a key. It is interesting to make something that is not like a standard game. I suppose this is true for a lot of like life sim, job sim type games. Like a lot of these game templates are based on a certain kind of interaction that is still very like this is for an immersive sim, but it's still very Doom-like in nature, you know? Consumable items, keys, ammunition. I'm not gonna, like, for instance, combinable items. Very cool, I'm not gonna use that. Base class to easily add your custom item types. Containers with their own inventories. Containers. Containers is like crates or chests. Think of chests, right? In a classic dungeon game. And the chest has multiple items. Is that something I would ever need? I'm just like closing my eyes and imagining the game of my dreams in front of me. No, because containers, the way they work in games is they don't actually have a little 3D representation of the item. in it, right? You open a chest, a little animation plays, and a little menu shows up that lists the items. And I don't want that. I want the items to exist in the world, with or without physics. So you open a chest, and there's 3 boxes in there. Or 3 items, and you'd have to pick them up individually. So I don't need containers with their own inventories. Other than the player inventory, which is a different thing entirely. Basic NPC, navigation agent-based enemy with component-based state machine plus animation states. Simple player detection system that uses detection areas plus basic line of sight checks. Main menu, pause menu, and options menu. Menus. See, here's a funny thing. I feel like even now when I look up basic game tutorials, menus are something that is like very much understated. Because sometimes people say like, oh yeah, to pause a game, you can just use your engine's pause function. And it's like, no, you can't, because then everything pauses. So then either you need to exclude a bunch of things from the pause menu of being paused, or you need to create an entirely different system to pause interaction. Now I'm wondering. This is making me think, okay? This is what I want. How does saving work in this game? In My Summer Car, it's a horrible, terrible save system that I must insist is based entirely on the fact that it wasn't particularly well planned for. Where you need to go to a toilet to save, and then it fast forwards time by like 5 hours or some shit. And that's the only place you save. Would I like a place, a point-based save system? You need to find a typewriter? Or can you just save at any point? Like technologically, I could do whatever. Right? But it's definitely something I need to think about ahead of time, because if I say you can save anywhere, that means I'm gonna have to save. I'm gonna have to have some kind of system that checks the entire world for whatever is different and make sure to save it in a file that isn't like 300 megabytes. Walking into the sea saves the game. I think that does the opposite. That's for where the sea is on Aruba and how rough it is here. You see all this white? You know how deadly white is, Fluff? Walking into the sea is instant death. But like, do you just hit escape and hit save? That's boring. I don't want a pause menu. Pause menu? Here again, I get to like, what do I want to do with this game? Accessibility wise, you need to be able to pause. Just straight up. Straight up accessible, like no matter what I want the game to be, no matter how I want the game to feel, fuck you From Software. You need to be able to pause the game. Oh, I have to take a phone call. Oh, I have to change my baby's diapers. I have to go change my own diaper. Whatever. I don't want to get punished for that. In My Summer Car, you just spent 2 hours playing, an emergency happens, it'll take you another half an hour to make it to a toilet to save, and whatever you had planned is now fucked because time advances. I don't like that. I do like the consequences. Pausing. You can pause at any time, but there's no menu. I think. I'm gonna write it down. A pausing and a menu. You can pause at any time fully, but there's no menu. Just for accessibility. Accessibility. Wow, I still can't write accessibility. I have a master's degree in the English language. Oh, you couldn't see it because it was behind my little background. Isn't it cute? Isn't it cute that I went through the effort to get a camera shot of my regular background? So you can almost not tell that that's not really me. Saving can be done at any time from the phone. How many games are there where you save by calling? I'm trying to remember one in particular. Is it Alien Isolation? Kind of has these weird phone type things where you save. What's Earthbound, Grace? Never heard of it. Oh, mother. Can be done at any time from the phone, but does cost a decent chunk of battery. If battery percent, which one is percent again? Oh god. Where are we? If battery percent is below amount that save would take, you can save, but battery dies. Or battery just decreases by a percent of current charge. If your battery is at 100%, it'll take it'll take 10%. If your battery's at 100, it'll be 90 after you save. If it's at 50, it'll be 45 or whatever. I will not... Fluff! Make your own damn game, in which everything you do breaks the game instantly. Okay, so I like that. What else do we have? NPC, options menu, rebindable controls, full gamepad support, save and load system, localization, whatever. Dial logic and dial view manager. Okay, let's try it.
Assurance. Today is the day.
A very breakable game. All you have to do is vibe code it, Fluff. Okay, so this is Kojito. So I tested this and I need to mess with the project settings because the preview window is way too big. I need to figure it out. Window. Enter primary screen. We can make it 1280, 720. Should be good, right? Does this work now? I also had it crash on me once extremely, so it is not outside of the realm of possibility that this crashes the stream. What can you do? Looking okay so far. Okay. New game. Wait, options? Resolution. Full screen, no. Anti-aliasing, no. Audio is fine. Bindings. Apply changes. Asking ChatGPT to build me MSC, but worse than Set and Somerset. Worse. Worse than MSC? Okay, but now how do I get back? Okay, just escape. Alright, so we don't have body. F, little messages, sounds, carry. And carry items, they have some form of physics. Rotate is not working. The rotate button does not work. Whatever. Drop. But do they have, like, can I throw it? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put you back. Read hint. You found the demo hint. These contain explanations on how objects in this scene are set up. The hint is an example of using readable component. A readable component is an interaction component that makes objects readable. On interacting, a window like this will pop up displaying some text. To create your own, attach a readable component to a digital object and set the desired title, text, and sound. As with any interaction component, you can also customize which input map action is used and what prompt is displayed. In this case, it's read hint. Press the interaction button again. Can I, hold on, can we just turn off the music so I can just put the Deus Ex music back?
Exclamation. I know, yeah. Rain has resubscribed to the BOBSTREAM and has been a subscriber for 43 months. Bob ascended to V2 Bedum.
V2 Bedum. How are you doing, Noya? Will you at least have a yell button? No. What, like a curse button? I don't see the need. One thing I am not after, very, very explicitly, one thing I am not after is a certain contingent of the My Summer Car community that is in it for the crudeness of it all. I think the crudeness of it all is a vital component of that game. And it is enjoyable and funny up to a certain extent. But there's people who just want to piss and fart and give a middle finger. And one, that game's already doing it. So what am I gonna add to that? And two, these kinds of life job sim games, at least the ones that are a little bit more than just like your basic supermarket simulator job or whatever, are very like, they're very masculine coded games, and I'm trying to move away from that. Disaster report style, hey! We're a long way, I'll say this, we're a long way off from figuring out how you interact with NPCs. It could be anything from like, you know, like My Summer Car, where they're just talking to you, to like extended dialogue scenes. You know? Read hint. Connected switch. You can connect Kojito's switch objects to each other to create more complex switchable objects. That is cool. This red button on the wall of the switch is connected to the ceiling lamps, all of which are their own switch objects. When you press the red button, it will trigger one ceiling light after the other with a set delay. Note that this switch starts in its on state. The state of the button does not need to match the state of the connected switching object. They don't even have to be switchable objects. You can always use this to control doors or use the included signal to hook up your own custom script. So that's cool. So even if I don't base anything I do off of this directly, there are some implementation things which I might want to poach. Because that seems very you know, an elaborate switching system seems... See, there I go. Because I don't know. Do I want something crude that I hand code by myself that just does what it needs to do? Or do I want to take the time to understand how someone else implemented something and then completely over-engineer what I'm gonna make? I don't know. I ripped page A, added to inventory. How do I access inventory? Tab. Oops. Piece of paper ripped in half. It has some numbers on it, but parts are missing. Use. I need the other half. Quests. Gain access to the archive. Quests. Not gonna have that. Citables! This chair contains a Cogito citable. This is a non-physics citable. It tweens the player to a sit marker and makes them look at the look marker we're interacted with. The player stays seated until they're interacted. So that's one way to implement the sitting. Not great, but it is interesting. And I can still interact with stuff. That's kind of cool. No legs, no. Cogito switch. This lamp is an example of a Cogito switch object. On interaction, the lamp switches from its off to its on state, in turn activating the light and changing to a lit mesh. A switch object is perfect for lamps, but can be used for any object that has two distinct states. Can you just attach set script to a Node 3D derived object, make sure it has a collision shape and an interaction component, and set its parameters. Can I turn this off? Because it's very noisy. Break room. It doesn't have full physics because it's not rotating. Oh, it is! Interesting. Laboratory. I'm gonna lower the SFX volumes a little bit because I don't care about that so much. Basic vehicles. These chairs are examples of Cogito vehicles. A basic example of extending the citable class. The vehicle is essentially a physics citable that uses player input to move. That's... Here's one thing I'm wondering, because I've seen how different games do this. You have like in Cyberpunk, to enter a car, you hit E on the door, and it plays an animation, and it places you inside the car, and you are now in driving mode. And then the other end of the spectrum is, of course, the My Summer Car. My Summer Car, you hit use on the door opens. Is this pack free? Yeah, absolutely. Cogito. Let me, it's available on the, like, Godot has like a little asset library. So if you just search for Cogito there, you don't find it. Why not? But I'll link it here. Hold on. Maybe because I already have it installed. But like, yeah, in My Summer Car, you open the door of the vehicle, and then there's other games that let you do this too, and then you click on the seat, and then you're in driving mode. In My Summer Car, it goes even further than that. You enter the car, and like your collision shape shrinks. Kind of. It's almost like in some games when you enter a vent, you know? Some games let you do it automatically. You automatically crouch, basically, and you're standing on top of the seat. And then when you're in the seat, you can move around and position yourself, and then you hit a button to enter driving mode. And then you have to, actually manually start the car and all that stuff, which is what I want to do too. I think that's a step too far for me. I like having to manually open the door. But I think I would just have it be, yes, you hit E on the seat, on the driver's seat, and then your view moves to sit in the car, and you're now in drive mode. Like, I find the way that Cyberpunk does it too simple. Break room. This room is a showcase of how you can use Cogito to make props interactable. The cupboards and shelves use the Cogito door object, while the chairs and coffee mugs are examples of simple rigid bodies that have a carryable component attached. The fridge is a Cogito container. The cupboards and shelves use the... So, yeah, that's cool. Oh, you went through the wall. That's not great. Or did you fall behind or something? Can't tell. Coins. These can be picked up. Okay. Microwave. Carry. Oh, carry versus pick up. Yeah, and then this has like, yeah. That's not what I'll have in the game. And this is... Sitables. Physics sittable. These chairs are examples of physics sittable. It keeps the player on the sit marker and dynamically adjusts the view angle to follow the look marker. Exit behavior. On the exit, the player can be placed using these behaviors. Original. Places player at a pre-sitting position. Places player at a leave marker. Places player at a pre-sitting displacement. Places the player in a free spot using a nav mesh. Okay. I see, but I can move these to wherever, right? And then still sit on them? Oh! Yeah! Yeah, okay. Buy a health potion. Currency! There we go. This is why it's good. It's good. Player has an MP3 player, a watch. I will do this, Noya. Give me a sec. Player has an MP3 player, a phone, a watch, and a wallet for currency, for personal currency. I don't remember which game it was. Maybe, what's that one where you're driving through Germany to Istanbul? By the person who also did Landlord Super. But there's some games where you can check how much money you have by looking at your wallet. Anyway, let's carry the chair. Can we rotate it? I can't rotate it for some reason. It's like the binding isn't working properly. Secondary action. But I can grab another chair. Well, extend inventory. Oh. I guess my inventory is bigger now. Carry. You ready, Noya? For this incredible, incredible moment? There we go. Such a radical. I feel like you can really exploit this, because if I now do this, okay, I can't put it on the vending machine. Can I put it on the... No. What if I drop you now? There's probably a way to go through walls with it. Yeah, see? I'm a genius. See, I want to use I want to click to open cabinets. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, what button do you naturally want to use? What is the instinct? Is to use... I want to click to open doors, not hit F. What would I... F is for grabbing things. Like, okay, carry is E. Oh, I can rotate like this. I need to use the cursor keys. Okay. What happens if I place a seat on top of a seat? And then try to sit. Yeah, okay, nothing. Let's see what else. This is an elevator. A lift. Moving platform. By creatively combining the Kajito door object with a Kajito switch object, you can create moving platforms like this lift. The platform itself is a door that slides upwards. It has no interaction component attached. Instead, a Kajito switch is hooked up to trigger the platform and make it move. Play around with all the options in each Kajito script to provide us see what you can come up with. Okay. So here we're getting into advanced. I'm probably not going to have lifts in the game, but here we're getting into advanced character controller issues. Notice when the platform moves, the player character kind of lags behind. And then when it stops, it gets pushed up a little. I don't know what the cause of that is, but I don't like it, and I wouldn't want it in my game. I don't know if it's on purpose. It's to indicate motion. You know, if it's just kind of like a little effect, or if it's a problem caused by colliders. I know historically in games, 2D or 3D, moving platforms have caused issues. But it annoys me. What is this? Wheeled flashlight. Yeah, there could be items like this in the game as well. Okay. Obviously the games won't have guns, except maybe paintball guns. But yeah, a flashlight. A flashlight, or any item that you hold in your hand that can be used, including food and drink, tools. Yeah. I guess you would call that a wieldable, right? So tools. Items you can hold and use. Wieldables. Food. Drink. Tools, flashlight, etc. This door locked? No, but I can lock it. That's weird. Can I? This a useless item. Useless item added to inventory. I have 2 pages now. We can combine them. How do we combine them? Use. How do we combine items? Funny, I can't... Look, let's get away from the fucking fountain. Hey! Hey! That doesn't flush. I'm sorry, Red. Toilet lid opens, but it doesn't flush. What is this? Pick up. Emergency injector. The tap doesn't work. But hold on. I don't care. Now I'm playing the game, but how do I combine items? This classic keypad works exactly as you expect. Enter the code to unlock the door. You can find hints in the code for this keypad close by. For your own keypad, you can set any code you like and make it as short as long as you like. Keypads are set up to work with doors, but you can also use them to trigger objects by using the included signal. So, like, keypad is a pretty simple thing, right? It's an item that allows you to enter a number, has a variable in it for what the correct number is. If you enter the correct number, it sends a signal. Maybe I need tape. You can set up doors as locked. When the player tries to open a locked door, you can set it to play a custom rattle sound and display a hint. You can then assign a key item to the door. If the player has that item in their inventory, when they interact with the door, they will unlock it. You can also use other ways like keypads or switches to unlock the door. We have a hidden compartment in the fridge, so drop the laptop in there, we can retrieve it. Hey Jojo. CEO's laptop, CEO's laptop. That's funny. Both were the CEO's laptop. So, move. Alright, that means nothing. There's something up here? There's nothing up here. Let's go into the secret hidey hole. The camera. Don't care about that. There's a bear trap. Citables aren't just for seats. In this instant, a citable is used for a trap. It uses the auto sit area behavior, causing the player to sit automatically upon entering the area. No look marker is used here, so the player retains full control of their view. Other sit area behaviors, manual. The player can only interact with inside the defined sit area. This avoids the player interacting with the seats from behind or any desired location. None, the player can interact with the settle from anywhere. So... Ah... I need to escape. Let's stand up. Okay. Anything else in here that I would care for? Turn the camera back on? No. Oh, we're entering a new area. That was loud. Shooting range. Stamina drain attribution zone. Ugh! Ugh, my stamina. Sanity drain. Oh, I'm going insane. Movement. I can swing? Whee! Can I actually, like, move the swing? Can't tell. If I can move the swing while sitting. Does that matter? Maybe. If you want to make a swinging game. I don't think you can. What is this? A strength potion. Right, okay. I can't pick it up, but if I use a strength potion, then I can. Oh, there's a little guy there. Hey, buddy. Can I attack you from behind? Switch stance. Oh! Oh! God, that's terrifying. That actually scared the shit out of me. Switch. Right, this is very Portal-like. Heal zone, that's what we need. Ah. Hazard zone? Oh. Shooting range, what is this? Unfinished systems and another guy. Target practice. Destroy 5 targets. Foam bullets. Laser ammo. A pickaxe. Reload animations. Dart. Whatever that is. Stamina extension. We got aim down sights. Can I kill this fucker? I don't know. Yes. Thank God. Drops items. He's thrusting. Thrusting in death. As we all wish to do. I think I've seen most of what I wanted to see. There's some work in progress areas, but let me just... Oh! Oh, okay. Gravity zone. Yeah, of course. Only problem. My gravity is now permanently... Okay. Oh. Thought I died. Switch that expects an inventory item. Oh, that's kind of cool. E-carry. snap that expects a carryable packed scene. That's interesting. Fire darts, water dart. Yeah. All right. That's all there is to the base area zone. Now, I'm gonna take a small little Bobby bathroom break. Oh, there's the other mug. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at the code a little bit. Does that sound good? You okay with that? I am. I realized without the camera on, I could have just left you all at this screen. Just mute the mic. Okay. So now I'm gonna do what I really actually intended to do this whole time. Which is is Kuchito in here? No? No. Just actually look at some of the codes. Now there's docs. There's documents. There's documentos. The player controller. Kojito includes a first-person player controller, has a variety of parameters and settings built in. We recommend just reading through the descriptions and tweaking the parameters to your liking. Most common adjustments needed are walking, running, and sprinting speed, stair handling, and ladder handling. Be aware that a few of the player controller parameters will be controlled by the game options and thus user-controlled. Packed scenes. So add-ons, Kojito, packed scenes. Player HUD. Where's character controller? Kojito player. So Kojito player is a Kojito player type, currency, strength attribute. These are Kojito attributes. Has a standing, okay, interesting, a standing collision shape. Alright. Which is just a collision shape 3D. Apps 100% first person fluff. No third whatsoever. I would like to include a visible body of some sort. But I am also aware that that requires a lot more extra work. So I'm going to start off with just being a floating camera. Crouching collision shape. So you have... So basically... Okay. We can look at the script. Which is huge. Crouch. Crouching. Head bob. Crouching is false. Crouching collision shape. Alright. Toggle crouch. Reload options user may have changed while paused. You sit down. You enable both the standing collision shape and the crouching collision shape. Interesting. The sitting is a whole thing. Stand up, finished. If stand after roll, there's a roll? Sitting. Sit down, stand up. Where is like crouching and that's what I'm wondering. Increase attribute. Increase attribute. Increase on death. Pause movement. Set parameters. Toggle sitting. If is sitting, stand up. Else, sit down. Handle sitting, look, sit down. The sitting and standing is very elaborate. Test motion. Ladder. Step check. This is in air and enabled stair stepping in air. Right, that's for stairs. Calculate player radius. Okay, so I don't know. Okay, anyway, you have the player. Animation interactive. What? Standing collision shape, crouching collision shape. A raycast for a stair check. A raycast for crouching. Which are different. Body. Neck. Head. Eyes. What are those used for? What are the animations for? Rotation. Camera, okay, yeah. Interaction raycast, that makes sense. Variable position. Item, drop, shape, depth. Just had an idea for a multiplayer game where you can't view from your own character, you can only view from other players' first-person view. I have long ago. I'm talking like early 2010s, maybe. I don't know if it was a game jam game or just a proof of concept. There was, I have no idea what it's called, but there was something that claimed to be a second-person shooter because you could only see your character from the perspective of the other character. So it was like a two-player, you know, basically what you're saying. But your twist is interesting in that it's a 4-player cooperative game. Wieldables. Sway straight. That's all it does. Player interaction component. Everything has been done before, Fluff. But also everything is original. Player interaction component. That's for the interaction check. Okay, so that's interact, that's a reload. Oh, where is movement handled? Not here. This is just interacting stuff, right? Wieldable, reload, save. Where is movement handled? Character body 3D. Is character body 3D a default thing? Yeah. Character body 3D is a specialized class for physics bodies that are meant to be user controlled. They are not affected by physics, but they affect other physics bodies in their path. They are mainly used to provide high-level API to move objects, walls, stroke protection. This is general collision protection provided by physics bodies. Blah 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 blah. New player attribute setups. New player GG. Health, sanity, currency, citables. Slide audio in it. Manipulate player attributes. Currencies. Death. Input event. Okay. If player is sitting and look marker is present, use sittable look handling. If is sitting, yeah. Else, if it's free looking. Analog input. Pause menu. Inventory. Oh, that's it. So that's not movement at all. This is just look. That's analog for mouse. This inventory. So this is ladder movement. This is only ladder movement. Sittable related. Okay, this is physics process. There we go. Input direction. Stand after roll. Crouch jump. Crouch handling dependent on there we go. Of course it was in physics process. If movement is paused, if toggle crouch and input is action, just press crouch. Try crouch. Is not try crouch. If crouch jump or head position. Christ, this is complex. Basically, this just toggles try crouch. And try crouch is here is used for the crouch jump. I don't care about. Here we have sprinting. So where does the crouching actually happen? It is crouching. That's jump related, so. Where is try, let's look for all entries of try crouch. There. I don't know where the crouching actually happened. If crouch jump or not jump from slide and is on floor and try crouch, or crouch raycast is colliding. What are we looking for? Crouching. Collision shape. That's a var. So crouching collision shape. When you sit down, it's disabled. When you sit down, it's disabled. When you stand up, it's whatever. Stand after roll. What I want to do, maybe, is look up other character controllers. First person in particular. First person. Simple state machine. Gremlin's first-person controller, advanced state machine first-person controller, quality first-person controller V2.
That's when I saw him. So smooth, so carefree. He was real, I thought. He could make me real. When
This asset provides a fully commented, finite state machine-based first-person controller with a modular camera system and debug properties HUD. It's 100% written in GDScript that follows GDScript conventions. My main goal is to provide an easy plus complete way to manage and modify controller for first-person games. Test types included. The controller uses a finite states machine architecture where each state has its own script, making it straightforward to add or remove or modify behaviors. All movement parameters, camera settings, and exposed. Smooth acceleration and deceleration, slope and hill traversal, walking, crouching, running, jumping, jump buffering, coyote time, don't need any of that. Probably not have any jumping at all. Did I write that down anywhere? No jumping.
Excitements I didn't expect.
Good.
I never knew riding with you could bring so much wonder.
Should any
Everything's
jump.
surprise. Your beautiful machine never slows, never stops. This was
Jump.
real. I
Any.
knew. My life was turning real.
Forward sight, tilt head, bob zoom. Interesting. Advanced state machine. Oh, it's from the same person. Fully commented, finite state machine based first person control in a modular camera system and debug properties HUD. It is 100% written in GDScript. Interactive structures are slope spheres, jump pads, gravity zones, conveyor zones, and slippery zones. Features: finite state machine, smooth acceleration, slope and hill, walking, crouching, running, jumping, coyote time, air control, bunny hopping, dashing, sliding, flying, wall running, wall jumping. I mean, yeah, that's simple minimalist first person control, sprint, crouch, moving around, jumping, flying around, everything toggleable, even at runtime. That's nothing. Quality first person controller. Actually good first person controller for Godot engine. The first person controller was made because there weren't many first person in-air momentum, motion smoothing, FOV smoothing, head bobbing, crouching, sprinting. Immersive. Climbing. Like clambering? Now that's a thing, isn't it? Climbing or clambering? Is that something I would want? This is a very good question to ask. What situation would I require climbing or clambering? I can imagine. It depends on where I want to go. I feel like that's an advanced thing. Because, like, say that I want the player to be able to climb on top of their house to fix their roof. or climb rocks. Very advanced, much later in the project. Not sure if necessary. Let's download some of these player controllers. I like immersive because it's a slower. So just a player, it is a character body 3D. View bobbing is done through animation. There's a raycast for crouching. There's a raycast for climbing. Multiple ones. Placeholder collider, placeholder body mesh. Camera pivot, there's a reflection probe for some reason. And then state machine. That is an interesting way of doing it. Okay, hold on, let's just look at the player. Gravity, we have our controls. We have customizable player stats. Those are like just changeable from here, right? Yeah. Exported. Allow jump, allow crouch. Crouching, yes. Crouch and zoom. My summer car has this thing where you can do a lean. That's its version of a zoom. Crouch. This. Zoom. Sprinting. I see. The thing is, while I'm like doing ideas in my head, I want to go as far as possible with what I could think of. You know, and be like, oh yeah, variable speed sprinting and all kinds of nonsense like that. And then I imagine once I'm actually implementing it, it's just hit shift to sprint. It's fine. Climb. Camera pivot, state machine. The state machine is just type player state machine, which extends what? It's just node. And there's the raycasts, space. Climbing space, ceiling detection. Player state values are set by applied state. Values are false across. View bobbing. Check controls. Right. Checking your controller. Hold on, in ready. That's all we do. Then we check controls, that's right there. That's the thing that it's doing. Checking if controller inputs are mapped. Right. Unhandled input. If can pause. Pause. If can move. If input get vector, move left. Input direction. Joypad. So input direction is 0. Add the gravity. If not, is on floor and is affected by gravity velocity. Resetting climb ability when on the ground. Process. Frame rate independent. Handle camera motion. Right. Joy motion. Check climbable, that's the whole thing. Ledge, climb speed, crouch. Is crouch, is not is crouch. If is crouch, animation play crouch. That's funny. The animation is just current animation. Crouch. That's all it does. It shrinks the collider. It shrinks the body. It moves the camera pivot. And it has a recast that also moves. Crouch recast. Interesting. What other animations did you have? Reset. View bobbing. Is handled by animation. I feel like my non-expert opinion feels like view bobbing should not be an animation but should be dynamic. Toggle crouch. Okay, so but the crouching is handled but I'd say the same thing is true for the animation. I feel like this is a misuse of the animation player, but I don't know enough to know if that's actually true. I imagine there's limitations to doing it this way, but it's also incredibly simple in the code. And whatever I do is going to be full of patchwork garbage code that just works. Setup can climb, timer, get on grab available. So much of this is about grabbing. Triggers in every state transition could be used for side effects and debugging. Input map. So the state machine. Probably not the best way to store the state constants. Yeah, I think so. Let's look at the other one. Quality first-person shooter. First-person controller. FPC. Do you have a scene? I thought you had a scene. No? Okay, so you have a character, you have a mesh. That's just your debug mesh. You have a collision pill. You also have a crouch animation that does the same thing. You have a head that has a camera. You have a head bob animation. You have a jump animation. But that's just for the camera, of course. Okay. User interface, that's whatever. Crouch ceiling detection. Editor module. Okay. Character. Base speed, sprint speed, crouch speed, acceleration, jump velocity, mouse sensitivity. Immobile. Character. Head, camera, controls. Feature settings. Jumping enabled in normal mode. It is safe to comment this line if your game doesn't start with the mouse capture. If the controller is rotated, must connection. Initialize animations, check controls, enter normal state. Pausing enable handle. Physics process, most things happen here. Gravity, if dynamic gravity. On floor. I'm not gonna mess with gravity. Handle jumping. If not, immobile. Immobility works by interrupting user input. I am wondering, maybe I can look into how Kojito handles the vehicle thing. With the sitting stuff as a basic, but I'm sure there's other ways, but like in a third person game, it's probably not that different, but like how do I handle vehicle controls versus, like, I don't even know what that would look like in the code. You enter a vehicle and control transfers to well, you still have the character controller, because this is the kind of game where you're still looking around while you're in the vehicle, and you can control objects on the dashboard, and like even the fucking the little, what's it called? The little flap, the sunscreen, the sun flap. There's a word for it. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Cue bobbing jump animation. Handle jumping, if jumping enabled. Handle movement. I kind of like how this is coded in here. Handle head rotation. Out of control, you might want to check for it here. The actions are being disabled. The engine doesn't halt the entire project. Handle state. I think basically the way I imagine it, once you enter a vehicle, your normal movement controls are cut off. So if is in vehicle, on foot controls are off. Look and interaction stay the same. I'm just wondering what the hierarchical relationship is between the player, controller, and the vehicle. You know? Does the player controller control the vehicle, is what I'm saying. The vehicle... Not the vehicle movement. The vehicle input. The vehicle controls the vehicle movement. Because the vehicle is like a physics object. Like if you park on a slope without putting on the handbrake, the vehicle is gonna roll down. Whether you're in it or not. Right? So physics controls the vehicle movement. But you enter the vehicle, you turn on the engine, you control the vehicle input. I'm just wondering, I guess... You know, I still need to kind of like wrap my head around how signals work in Godot. I know that they're very powerful, but I suppose if you are in a vehicle, if the vehicle controlling state is on, then movement input transfers to send signals to the vehicle. Right, left and right turns the steering wheel, up and down controls the acceleration and brake. Doesn't have to be more complicated than that, I think. Crouch animation. Speed is crouch. This is so nice and simple. I kind of really like it. This is the front runner right now, and this is this was what? Good quality Godot first person controller V2. Quality Godot first person controller. And then there was one more, the simple state machine, right? I didn't try that one yet. This one has an environment to walk around in. But there was another one that had an environment. I guess not. I thought there was another one. I guess I was just looking at that one. Let's install it. Should it be called simple state machine? Max desired move speed. Let's see how this one plays, because this one we can actually play around with. Oh. Some interesting camera movements here. Hey, Sally. We finished your chocolate and now I'm sad. Can you quickly whip up another batch and mail it over? Hey, hold on. Why is this or velocity? The velocity is 9. Oh, where the fuck did you go? Where are you moving? Oh my god. Weird. So my normal velocity is 9. Oh great, my. But I liked. It was having difficulty getting up a certain slope. I wonder if I can affect that. There's a slope. Well, I did see Cogito at least moved their repository to Codeberg. I closed it for some reason. Codeberg. I don't know enough about any of this shit to tell you if it's good or bad. I mean, I use zero advanced features of GitHub. Right? I just see a text file and I'm like, or a download. I can't tell you, but I can say, well, 1, it's Microsoft, so it's evil. And 2, it's Microsoft, so it's stupid. You know. In air, idle, walk, run, jump, in air. Crouch. Oh, I kind of like this one too. I like. Okay, so this kind of head movement thing that it does. It's too much, especially because I'd imagine, like, sorry, but my walk speed is not going to be 9 meters per second, you know what I mean? I type on an Amazon-owned platform. Yeah, I don't think I can leave Google or Amazon entirely. And I'm also on Windows. But yeah, it's you can only do so much, right? But I like the see, forward and backward too. I like some of the animation movement. So this one, and Quality Godot first-person controller V2 are the front runners right now. What was this one called again? Simple State Machine. Simple or Advanced State Machine. Advanced State Machine. First person controller. So the I didn't really look at the code of this one this much, but the code of the quality one, the way it was laid out made sense to me. And I like that. I do wonder. Oh, I can double jump. That's funny. Ceiling raycast colliding. True. That just means I can't jump. Let me just see. Player character. movement variables. Desired movement speed. Is it 30? Crouch variables. Crouch speed. So desired max desired movement speed is 30. If I drop that down to 15, does that make any difference? No, but it helps me break the window. No. Because it's 9. If I say it's 5, I don't know if this is dynamic. No. Also doesn't change anything. Do have the right desired movement speed. That's one thing that Kujito has better, I'm assuming, is it has much better commented well, it's not commented, but it has documentation. Yeah. Whereas these guys do not. Let me just move the camera. Hit ground cooldown. Bunny hop. PM Auto bunny hop. Walk variables. There we go. Okay. Walk speed. I wonder if I can do this dynamically. That would be cool. If I set the walk speed to 5. Yeah, cool. There's a very like naturalistic head bobbing going on here too. Although it's a little too slow. It makes it seem like my steps are really big. I could do even less than that, like 4, you know, and run is fucking 8 maybe. Motion. Floating. What does that mean? No idea. It's broken. Grounded. Okay, 4 is maybe a little slow. But I'd say 8 is also too fast. That's funny, huh? Five, and what is it? 7. Because what I want to do too is create a sense of scale that you don't get when you can just run by everything real quick. Even 7 is a little fast. I wanted to see if there's like a slope. Crouch speed would be fucking 2. crouch speed would be really slow. Yeah. Hitbox height, model height, height change duration. Jump variables. Keybind variables. I don't think there's any slope slowdown. Floor, stop on slope. Constant speed. What does that mean? If false, the body will move, but this is just character body 3D. If false, by default, the body will move faster on downward slopes and slower on upload slopes. If true, the body will always move at the same speed. But how can I like the body will not slide in slopes and move like the body is standing still. In an angle where the body is allowed to slide when it encounters a wall or equal height. Slope doesn't slow you down enough. I want that's something I can work on. Let me just take a look at the code. Well, look, dynamic slow down, speed up on slopes. Supposedly character body 3D does this if constant speed is false, but not feeling it. Let me just take a look, see if I understand what's going on here. In ready. Oh, this is Kojito. I need to be in their character skill. Much smaller. Hit ground cooldown, jump cooldown. I can extract all the jump stuff. All the coyote time stuff. Key binding, yes. Input actions check. That's fine. Physics process. Move and slide. Last stream position is over. Gravity apply. Hitbox. Mean model height. Yeah, I don't know what is going on here. I'll write it down like this. And for sorry, character controllers to base off of. I like the code layout. Understand it. simple yet slick. Okay, well, it's heading to bedtime for old little Bobby. But next time, well, on Thursday, on next Thursday, I could show you on the camera, but I don't have a camera right now. On next Thursday, that's 2 days from now, I will be playing something extremely special, which will be the subject of a big, huge video. So look forward to that. Next Tuesday, I'll be back with some more Godot. Twitch.tv. /read. I think next Tuesday I'll be back. So basically, the plan is every Tuesday I'll be working on the game and slowly starting to actually build it into something. I think next Tuesday we can start kind of fucking around with a character controller and hacking one of these two or these two together into something that I think will work for us. That at least will function as the basic platform that we can build all the other stuff we thought about today on to. And then we can think about kind of where we go from there. But yeah, thank you all very much for hanging out with me. Sorry the camera wasn't here. I am not happy with how I look right now, and that's not something that I want to memorialize on camera. You know how that goes. We're on Twitch side. We are traveling into Nervous Stream. On the YouTube side, you're just gonna go and watch another one of my videos, aren't you? It's right there in the recommended. Thank you, and today's the day, and bye. You too, Sally. Take it easy. Say hi to the mountains for me.
Thank you for enjoying the Bob stream. I love you all.